While the best and most industrious artists were labouring by the light of Giotto and his followers to give the world examples of such power as the benignity of their stars and the varied character of their fantasies enabled them to command. And while desirous of imitating the perfection of nature by the excellence of art, they were struggling to attain that high comprehension which many call intelligence, and were universally toiling, but for the most part in vain. The ruler of heaven was pleased to turn the eyes of his clemency towards earth, and perceiving the fruitlessness of so many labours, the ardent studies pursued without any result, and the presumptuous self-sufficiency of men, which is farther from truth than is darkness from light, he resolved, by way of delivering us from such great errors, to send to the world a spirit endowed with universality of power in each art and in every profession, one capable of showing by himself alone what is the perfection of art in the sketch, the outline, the shadows or the lights, one who could give relief to paintings and with an upright judgment could operate as perfectly in sculpture, nay, who was so highly accomplished in architecture also that he was able to render our habitation secure and commodious, healthy and cheerful, well proportioned and enriched with the varied ornaments of art. The Almighty Creator was also pleased to accompany the above with the comprehension of true philosophy and the adornment of graceful poesy, to the end that the world might select and admire in him an extraordinary example of blamelessness in life and every action, as well as of perfection in all his works, insomuch that he might be considered by us to be of a nature rather divine than human, and as the supreme reality perceived that in the execution of all these sublime arts, painting, sculpture, and architecture, the Tuscan genius has ever been raised high above all others. The men of that country display more zeal and study and more constancy in labour than any other people in Italy. So did he resolve to confer the privilege of his birth on Florence, as worthy above all other cities to be his country, and as justly meriting that the perfections of every art should be exhibited to the world by means of one who should be her citizen.
Nice.
And the winner for the longest sentence in history goes to Giorgio Vasari, who there in the ultimate chapter of his Lives of the Artists, the whole point of writing the Lives of the Artists from Vasari's perspective was to introduce us to the man who will be the subject of the next God knows how many episodes, so you can all shut the fuck up about we're sick of the Crusades. Can you get back to art?
Right. Yeah.
The painter, the sculptor, the architect, the closeted homosexual known as Michelangelo Buonarroti, or, as Vasari and his father called him, Michelangelo Buonarroti.
Michelangelo?
Welcome to the Renaissance.
Oh, okay.
Mickey the Angel. Episode 223, Michelangelo, Part 1.
Nice. Well, I think Vasari, he talked to his marketing department and said, you got to go out big. When you get to the end of the book, you got to go big. There's no, so could you come up with something? And obviously he did. And I'm glad you prefaced it like that, because at first I'm like, I don't know why Cam is introducing me. Everybody already knows who I am. And then it made more sense when you got to. So how are you doing today, Cam? Are you
good?
Are you not inspired?
Tell everybody about your week.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I had just come off. Was it a 2-week? And don't take this the wrong way. I just come off a 2-week absence of you-ness, of Camness, of rubbing body parts with Cam, and getting ready to go back to work. And Saturday. So 5 days.
Worked.
5 days.
Inverted commas. There, yeah.
So 5 days, whatever Saturday, with this last Saturday, I started feeling a little in my throat. And Sunday, full blown COVID, baby. If you're going to do it like Vasari, do it big. Heather had to take Sophie to a local clinic. They did whatever they did. We paid our money, and as a bonus, someone there gave us COVID. So Heather and Sophie bring the COVID home to me. I give it to Kiki. She ignores it because she's just too fucking busy for that kind of thing. And the three of us, me, Heather, and Sophie, have just been laying around the house acting like the world's biggest fucking babies, indulging almost everything, and just laying around and pissing and whining, which is why Kiki hasn't been here all week, because she can't stand us. Anyways, I've been suffering tremendously. So for all of you ill wishers, congratulations. The voodoo doll worked, whatever. My ex-wife, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a hell of a week, and I'm almost there. I'm almost back up to my normal 35%. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is Kiki shacked up with a boyfriend? Is that where she's gone?
She's shacked up with someone's, probably. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care at this point. Just go, don't get this.
Yeah.
Go. She said, okay, Dad. So
don't get pregnant, whatever. I don't care. Just don't get this. Yeah. I think you just came up with any excuse to do even less work than you normally do.
Right.
I'm not buying this whole COVID story at all.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I could send you pictures of the test strips, but those could be easily faked. So you're going to have to take my word for
GPT.
it. You're going to have to take my word for it. And I guess as one more offer of proof, judge my work tonight and tell me if it's less than normal. No, that's satisfying.
So,
yeah.
Back to Michelangelo. Michelangelo. Vasari, writing in mid-16th century Tuscan, Michelangelo was the period spelling of Michelangelo.
Right.
It would have sounded to modern ears like Michelangelo instead of Michelangelo, as we tend to pronounce it, or Michelangelo. Anyway.
Right.
Vasari says that he was given that name when he was born because, quote, inspired by some influence from above, the father thought he perceived something celestial and divine in him beyond what is usual with mortals, as was indeed afterwards inferred from the constellations of his nativity, Mercury and Venus exhibiting a friendly aspect and being in the second house of Jupiter, which proved that his works of art, whether as conceived in the spirit or performed by hand, would be admirable and stupendous.
Nice. I do have to ask, and again, whatever, this is my 29% instead of my 35%. I'm sure you ran across the family story about Michelangelo's mother being almost horribly injured when she was pregnant with young Michael. When she was dragged by her horse for a ways, and yet she and the baby were unharmed, again, probably preserved by God. I don't know. What do you think of? Is that just another testament to how God was looking out for this young man?
Yeah, she was pregnant, fell off a horse, was dragged behind the horse for quite a long way, and she and the baby both fine. And so, yes, he was supposedly divinely protected or something. I'll get into some of those stories, but I wanted to point out that Vasari and Michelangelo knew each other. Vasari was a contemporary.
Yes.
A major fan of Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelangelo was the crux of his Lives of the Artist, as I said earlier. Not the last chapter, as you suggested.
Right.
He's sort of midway through book 5. But, well, not midway, later than midway. But he was the only living artist that Vasari wrote about. And, you know, we've talked a lot on this show over the years about how artists during the Renaissance were perceived as working schmoes, really. I mean, it was the beginning of the artist as a quasi-celebrity.
Right.
But really, yeah, you were a guy, I pay you to do a job, you do the job.
Get the fuck out.
But it was starting to change with Da Vinci. He had a certain level of renown. Guys before him, like you had Botticelli, and guys like that had a certain level of renown.
Right.
As well, those guys are pretty good for a working for a
For
plumber.
you're
They're pretty good.
You dress
You
well.
want a great plumber. You
dress
you go
great
to
for a plumber.
Mario.
Right.
Yeah. They were the Mario and Luigi of the plumbers.
Exactly.
Michelangelo, though, was pretty much a rock star for most of his life. He's a little bit younger than Da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
So Da Vinci is around when Michelangelo. We talked about them having to paint side by side in our Da Vinci episode.
Yeah.
But Michelangelo is a rock star pretty much from early on in his career.
Yeah.
And by the time Vasari's writing about him, quite late in Michelangelo's life, he is absolutely, in terms of anyone who knows art, he is the Bob Dylan of the art scene.
Right.
He's a genuine rock star who's been around forever and is just greatly admired, particularly by fans of art. The two met in person. Vasari worked on projects in Florence that Michelangelo was connected to, but they weren't friends.
Right.
They didn't go drinking wine and hitting hookah bars together, probably because Michelangelo was closeted.
Right.
Don't know about Vasari.
Right.
But their relationship was more mentor, hero, fan, idol.
Yeah.
Like us.
That's exactly the words I was going to use.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You were probably going to argue over who was who, but
it doesn't matter who.
we
Let's
were both
not
on the same
let's
page.
not
No,
go.
let's not get into that. It doesn't matter.
Could I go ahead?
So Vasari, when he's writing this biography, we have two contemporary biographies of Michelangelo. And they're both very, very flattery.
Right.
As you would expect.
Yeah.
In fact, Michelangelo, even though Vasari flattered the fuck out of him, later on glazed him, as the kids would say today.
I like that.
By the time Vasari published the first edition of Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects in 1550, Michelangelo was a living legend, and Vasari revered him to the point of worship. He calls him Il Divino Michelangelo, the divine Michelangelo.
Right.
But Michelangelo wasn't happy with Vasari's first edition, the way he depicted him.
Right.
He was like, it's all right, but, you could have done
tweaking.
better.
Some tweaking. I see room for improvement.
I could have been more divine.
More glowy. More halo-y.
So he had one of his pupils write a separate standalone biography.
Right.
To correct the errors in Vasari's work. And then Vasari rewrote his own chapter on Michelangelo for the second edition in 1568.
It made it even.
So that's, big balls when this guy is already worshipping and you're like,
did you suck harder?
I need you to worship.
Right.
Yeah, I need you to worship harder.
Right. Harder. Well, could I just say real quick? I'm glad that you use the, oh my God, again, my COVID brain. Who's the musical artist? Dylan, that you just mentioned a second ago. I was going to go with Michael Jackson because some of the greatest works that this guy's known for is like in his early 20s, and he's still going to live another, 50 years or whatever the heck it is. So not only is he a rock star, but he did some amazing stuff at a very young age, and is going to go on and do some other stuff. And so the legend just builds. And so, I'm sure when he did see Vasari's, let's call it first pass at a biography, he's like, I see room for improvement. So why don't you go back and do it? No, never mind. I'll have my people do it. Is that
Dylan was famous in his early 20s too, right?
Oh,
like
no, I'm
how many roads must a man walk down?
Yeah, but was he like
before you can call him a man?
That's good. That was
he was.
But was he like Michael Jackson, like 8 years old, singing on stage with in front? I don't know about anything.
Not eight. No,
but you
get
the point.
Would have been funny if he was. If he had this 8-year-old kid comes
before
out and goes,
puberty.
How many roads must a man walk? And people are like, what the fuck is wrong with that kid?
What's wrong with his voice? Is that puberty? Is that post-pubescent? Oh my God. Someone help that kid. Anyway, no, but if
He had like he was smoking some weed. Do you know it was Bob Dylan that introduced the Beatles to weed?
I think I did. I think you told me that. Yeah. Thank
Great.
you. You know who introduced us to Marijuana, Mary Jane, 411, whatever? Our own podcast. I didn't do anything until we started researching. Anyways, that's a whole.
And then I told you got to start eating gummies, man.
And I listened.
You're working too hard. I said, Ray, you need to chill out more. Yeah.
But if you live to be 70 or 80 or whatever, and you did incredible things at age 21, and you're still doing incredible things, I mean, and you're human, how does the ego not grow over time? I mean, so again, and I'm sure we're going to go into this, but I guess for some of it, for Michelangelo, it's not just ego. He's a man on a mission, because as we're going to see, one, he was supposed to be the breadwinner for the family because his older brother got kicked to the church, but as he believes that he descends from nobility, it's his job to move the family name that much more forward. So he was driven. He had a purpose. Yes, he loved art, but he was a man on a mission, and he saw it as his duty to do this very thing. So maybe he had a very healthy ego for a good reason.
His duty. I was on AliExpress last night looking for like Birkenstock type sandals because my Birkenstocks are falling apart and I can't afford new Birkenstocks.
Right.
So I was looking at Birkenstock knockoffs, and I saw these ones being advertised as comfortable as stepping on shit was the tagline.
That's pretty comfortable.
And I was like, I threw it into an image of it into GPT, and I said, "Is this an idiom in China?" He goes, well, "Actually, it is." And I threw it into some of the Chinese AIs like Quen, which is Alibaba's own AI, and it confirmed it.
Oh wow!
Apparently, there is an idiom in China is like it's as comfortable as stepping on poop,
right,
or mud. That's a known thing. It's as comfortable as stepping on something soft and squishy. But they translated it and said it's as comfortable as stepping on shit.
Hey, whatever works. Yeah.
I thought I got to try those. Well, that sounds great.
Let's see how many times we can work that into the show tonight. It's as comfortable as stepping in shit. Or, we'll just see if it fits. If it works, we'll get it going.
Michelangelo is the best documented artist of the early modern era. Nearly 1,400 letters written by him and to him survive. He took letter writing very seriously because he knew he was a superstar. Right. So he kept copies for himself of everything that he wrote, went into the archives.
Right.
More than 300 pages of his personal and professional records survive. There's extensive correspondence among members of his immediate family about him. 440 of his letters have been published. He wrote 300 poems and many fragments of poems. 600 of his drawings survive. His surviving body of work includes finished and unfinished sculptures, paintings, and architectural designs. We have surviving contracts, business papers, bank records. Give us nearly a complete picture of his finances and property holdings. Many contemporary sources wrote about him. He lived nearly 89 years, roughly twice as long as most of his contemporaries. Right. I mean, Da Vinci lived into his 50s, and that was pretty old. And you see drawings of Da Vinci, and he looks like he's in his 80s. 100. Yeah. Michelangelo actually lived to, he's nearly 90. He worked for 9 different popes. Arguably the most famous artist in history, up there with Shakespeare and Beethoven in the Western world. But as famous as he is, he won't really have made it until we do a series on him over 100 episodes and several years, and people complain about how long this thing goes.
Right.
So
you make a good.
Let's get started.
You make a good point though, because I think he kept all those records. Now look, years in the future, two guys who don't have 1/10 of the talent of my little toe are going to talk about me. Let's see if we can help them get it right. Let's see if we can make it as easy and as smooth as stepping in shit. I mean, that was his goal the entire time, and that's what we're doing here.
Ding! The stepping in shit meter just went off.
That's what we're here for today.
I'm going to put a little, when you edit this, put a little thing up on the screen. Ding! Little one counter, stepping in shit counter. He was born, according to his father, on March 6th, 1474, but it was actually 1475 if you look it up in Wikipedia. Why the difference, Ray?
Was someone jerking with a calendar or just jerking it in general? Ooh, tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Florentine calendar ran from the 25th of March to the 24th of March each year. They were like, we do things our own way. Like, fuck all y'all. We're Florence.
God picked us.
Like Americans.
Yeah, fuck all y'all. Fuck all y'all.
We're using yards. We don't care what the rest of the world is doing. We're sticking with yards and miles and
if a mile was
whatever, inches and other fucking Fahrenheit and other fucking stupid shit.
Look. If that old system is good enough for my grandfather and my father, God damn, it's good enough for me. Just because we can't communicate and don't know all the shit that you people know, science, I can't help that. Your jealousy is showing. Please, go ahead.
So, by the Gregorian/Julian calendar, it's 1475, but when his father wrote a diary note, he said it was 1474.
Right.
He was born in Caprese, a small town near Arezzo in Tuscany, which is today known as Caprese Michelangelo.
Nice.
Because why wouldn't you rename it? That's the same way my hometown Bundaberg is now known as Bundaberg Cameron.
Well, can I ask real quick?
You want to attach yourself to your most famous citizen.
The son of the town. Are you saving your correspondence and various things for one day when there's I don't want to use the word library in Bundaberg or wherever you just said I wasn't paying attention, but museum or library?
Temple.
Where?
Temple.
Is there going to be a church of Cameron, and can I be a priest of Cameron? Please let me be a priest.
People will gather just to listen to these shows on a Sunday morning.
Okay, good to know.
His birth name was Michelangelo di Lodovico Buonarroti Simoni. For several generations, his family had been small-scale bankers in Florence, but the bank failed.
Oh, no.
And his father, Ludovico, briefly took a minor government post in Caprese.
Right.
He didn't want to work for a living because that would be insulting to the family name. So he just took a local government position, still living off the family estate, but he's doing something local, administrative, like the town's judicial administrator, and podesta, like a local administrator. Of Chiusi della Verna, which is a small commune in Arezzo. Now, as you hinted earlier on, the Buonarrotis claim to be descended from the Countess Matilda di Canossa, a.k.a. Matilda of Tuscany, a.k.a. La Grande Contessa, the great countess.
Right.
Who was a member of the House of Canossa during the second half of the 11th century. Now, I'd never heard of Matilda of Tuscany before. Had you, Ray? He says, guessing that the answer is probably no, because if I haven't told you about her, then you probably haven't heard about her.
And whose fault is that? So
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
No, I had not heard of her. But
did you look her up?
I looked her up this much. I'm trying to find my notes now, but I do know that she ruled. Did she rule in her own name for a while? And there was a whole bunch of drama going on, and she had to maneuver the waters of war, intrigue, excommunications. I mean, this woman, the fact that she was able to survive, and I'm going to stop after I say this, obviously had a quite serious head on her shoulders, and she deserves to be revered by this family.
Yeah, she was one of the most important figures of the Italian Middle Ages,
Mm,
as it turns out, governed over a territory that included present-day Tuscany, Romagna, Emilia, and Lombardia,
damn.
all of which she donated to the Pope or to the church when she died.
Right.
And it was during the investiture controversy where there was this battle between the Holy Roman King and the church about who got to, we've talked about this on earlier shows, who got to decide who bishops were. King said,
Yes.
I get to decide.
Right.
Pope's like, no,
Fuck
it's my
you. It's my.
job. And she sort of played a role in between the two and supported the church in that. And her rule and influence was sort of identified as a major cultural epoch in Italy.
Mm.
She was such a big deal. She has a tombstone in St. Peter's Basilica, like
Oh, nice.
a statue of her and a tombstone. She was such a big deal for the church. Like she gave them a shit ton of land, including Tuscany, which, as we know, then became central to the battles between Florence and the church over, well, actually, you think you control us, but you don't really.
Right.
Unfortunately for the Buonarrotis, there's no evidence that they were actually descended from her, but they believed it was true.
And that means it is.
And
To them.
yes,
Yeah.
and they lived according to the fact that it was true. We know from our Caesar show and other things that we've talked about that, Italians like to say that they were descended from gods or patrician families. It's sort of
It helps.
like you like to say you're descended from Native Americans,
Mhm.
and no one believes that because
Right.
we've seen you
Right.
try and shoot a bow and arrow, and
It didn't.
you're hopeless.
Yeah. I shot my own foot.
No,
Yeah. Yeah. But I was.
I think that's
Yeah.
your justification for trying to get some strange snatch from time to time. You're like, hey, listen,
Look,
I'm 1/8
I'm exotic.
Native American.
Okay. I think you'll find.
Yeah,
No, I was.
you like exotic.
I was filling out college applications, and Native Americans, to a large degree, go to universities free. So I was trying to ride that
Oh,
wave,
yeah.
and it didn't take with the women or the college. Go ahead. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's depressing.
But for Italians, particularly back in the day, this was a big deal. If you
Oh,
were
yes.
descended from somebody important, even if you weren't important in your own day, to
Exactly.
be descended from that meant a lot. You had their blood in your veins. You had to live up to that name,
Right.
etc., etc.
And you wanted respect.
Several months after he was born, the family returned to Florence. His father only took this contract for about 6 months.
Mhm.
And his mother was sick and died when Michelangelo was only about 6 years old. I'll talk more about that in a second.
Yeah.
But he was raised by a nanny and her husband in the town of Settignano, which is where his father owned a small farm and a marble quarry.
Hmm.
And the nanny's husband who raised him was a stonecutter. This was a town full of stonecutters.
Yes.
Everyone cut stone. Stone. That's all they did.
You get some stone, and you get some
And-
stone. Sorry. Go ahead.
Vasari quotes Michelangelo as saying, "If there is some good in me, it's because I was born in the pure air of your Arezzo countryside. Along with the milk of my nurse, I received the knack of handling chisel and hammer with which I made my figures." So essentially saying that his talent for sculpture was passed on to him by the breast milk of the stonecutter's wife, who herself was the daughter of stonecutters
Right.
for generations back. It was passed on to him through their titty milk,
Right.
titty juice.
Right. Well, if we could just leap over the breast for a second, which I don't like to do. I like to linger, but that anyway. Okay, we're making joke about breast milk and in the influence, but I mean, I think this was someone, and this is where we're going to kind of begin to break away from what people think they know about Michelangelo or interpret or whatever. But I mean, obviously he's gifted as an artist in many different forms. Obviously he's very intelligent in his own way. I mean, I just imagine him being in that atmosphere, just soaking up knowledge and soaking up watching what the man does. The workers
Soaking up breast milk.
And while
Mm.
not unwhile he's sucking a breast. So like, not that him being there made him the incredible artist that he is, but I think it might have influenced his aptitude for stone versus maybe focusing on other things, which again he was good at. But again, sometimes geography can heavily influence, or normally does heavily influence your future. So I just find it interesting that if he were not there, if his father owned, a place somewhere else, who knows what would have happened. But the point is he got he was surrounded, like you said, he was surrounded by this for a period of time in a very young part of his life. I just find that very fascinating. Freud would freak out, and probably did, at this kind of thing. The breast milk, he would love it. Sorry, I'm done.
When his parents married, his father was 28 and his mother, his father's wife, Francesca del Serra, was about 14.
That sounds right. It checks.
Yeah. Like Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormons,
Right.
his father liked his snatch young.
Right.
They began having children immediately.
Sure.
The first, Leonardo, the eldest brother.
Yeah.
And then Michelangelo 2 years later. So she would have been barely 17, 18
Yes.
when Michelangelo was born. She had 3 more sons in rapid succession and then died in childbirth in 1481, still in her early 20s.
Yeah.
And I mention this because you will notice as we go through his life and career, in his paintings and sculpture, lots of depictions of feminine beauty and the relationship between a mother and child, themes of maternal loss and love and separation.
Yeah.
Like often depicted between Jesus and his mother, the Pieta, which we saw when we were in the Vatican, is probably one of the greatest depictions of that, heartbreaking, a mother and a son.
Mm-hmm.
And there is reason to believe that, a lot of this is somehow connected to the loss of his mother when she was a child.
Right.
I want to finish this episode by talking a little bit more about his name.
Please.
Well, still, before I get into that, in his surviving writings, he only mentions his actual mother once.
Yeah. Too painful?
So he doesn't talk about her a lot. Yeah, maybe.
That's my guess.
Yeah, but he does a lot of art that is about mothers, so we're pretty sure that she was in his mind to some degree.
Right.
Or maybe not. Who the fuck knows? Maybe we're just reading more into it than we have to.
That's what we're paid to do, though. Go ahead.
The only time that he mentions his mother in his writings, he's recommending that one of his nephews names his child after his father,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's a girl, after our mother. So his and his brother's mother. Now, that's the only time he mentions his mother.
Right.
And it's interesting because he's talking, this is Italian tradition. You name your children after your parents or your grandparents to carry on the name. But his name, Michelangelo, didn't come from either his father or his mother's families.
That's right.
Which was unusual for that time. You talked about the story of on their way to Caprese, mother falls off the horse, and father might have thought that the child survived because of divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
The name of Michelangelo comes from the archangel Michael, guardian of the Hebrew nation.
Right.
Even though the Buonarrotis were not Jews.
Right.
Quick one, Ray. As somebody seeped in religious education as you are, how many archangels are there and what are the names of the others?
This is a trick question. There's only one, huh? No, I don't know. Is there a hierarchy of angels? Because that seems unheavenly, uncommunistic. I don't know. I'm just stalling until you start talking. How many are there? I honestly don't know.
7 archangels: Uriel, Raguel, Raphael, Sariel, Gabriel, and Remiel.
Oh, wow.
And Michael. The only one without the L. Oh no,
Mike.
Michael.
Michael. There we
Michael.
go. All right, cool.
L being God.
There should be 7 turtles. No, go ahead. There's a joke there somewhere. Go ahead. No.
Now, here's the second part of that question.
Right.
According to the Bible, what is an archangel?
Do they either have a specific task or they have powers or rights that other angels don't have? Fancier wings, convertible? I'm not up on my arcs.
As it turns out, nobody knows. The Bible doesn't really explain what they are.
They're just faves. They're
barely,
faves. Sorry.
Barely gets mentioned at all. They're just, oh yeah, there's an archangel.
Right.
So from a historical, religious syncretist view,
right,
as we've talked about on the show in the past, a lot of Judaism was invented during the Babylonian captivity, when the Hebrews were taken as slaves to Babylon.
Right.
And they borrowed a lot of stuff from Zoroastrianism. So when they were allowed to leave, they integrated a lot of the religious beliefs of the Persians into their own law, their own religion. It was syncretistic.
Right.
The same way Christianity is a combination of Judaism and pagan religions like the worship of Isis and the worship of Osiris and some of the other Greek gods. The Judaism itself is a syncretism of various Middle Eastern religions. In Zoroastrianism, they have 7 angels, basically, called Amesha-Spenters.
Right.
That have sort of intermediaries of their ultimate god, Ahura Mazda, on Earth. They play a role of delivering, getting shit done.
Right.
Basically,
right.
They are to God what Agrippa was to Augustus.
Right.
They're the get shit done guys on Earth.
Not unlike making it smooth by a smooth ass stepping in shit. That was their job, to smooth things over. That's all I'm saying. That was their
number 2.
That was their
We've only got 1 minute left. Can we get in a third one? The Hebrew word for angel is actually malach.
Oh, cool.
Which means messenger. But they don't get mentioned in Hebrew literature until after the Babylonian captivity. That's all of a sudden when they turn up. So the timing is the post-Babylonian captivity.
Right.
But the more interesting fact when you get to Michelangelo's name, so he's named for the Archangel Michael. The more interesting fact from my perspective is that he actually has a last name. Most artists in his day were named after their fathers or after a profession or after their place of origin, like Leonardo da Vinci. He didn't have a surname. It was just where he was from.
Right.
But Michelangelo actually has a surname, and possession of a surname itself in that era was a sign of status.
Oh.
You had a name because you had a family with some tradition, and you were a cut above the rest of the scum that were artists in Italy. And he actually claimed, well, he did have genuine connections to some of the most powerful families in Florence, which again sets him apart from most of the well-known artists of the day.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have to cover that on episode 2 of Mickey the Angel.